Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. I shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we're currently relaxing as per usual. I'm currently trying to edit something for my friend. Her birthday's tomorrow, and the main part is done, and now I'm just adding in some other friends' contributions. It's interesting, shall we say? I'm not sure exactly if it's going to give exactly the same sort of concept we're anticipating, but we'll see. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 9:05 PM on Friday, November 14th, 2025. But what else is going on? Miss May, no news update there. I've decided, I've changed my strategy. I'm no longer doing frontrunner. I've tried for the past few days to make a good Saints guy. It's such a nightmare trying to get everything to line up properly and get the stats for it, and, you know, do it within only 3 runs a day. I was like, you know what, it would be much easier if I just made 3 late surger gamblers. I made 3 late surger gamblers. I did test runs. I've got like a 60% win rate, and I'm like, okay. And these aren't even the best ones I could possibly make. They're just pretty good. So yes, I'm doing triple late gambler, and then if need be, I'm gonna swap out my gold city, which would be sad because she's my favorite character, with a blocker or something, or a Taiki shuttle pace chaser. I'm not like a huge fan of Taiki shuttle, so I don't really want to use her. So currently I'm using vodka, gold city, and Fuji Kiseki for those of you in the know. Otherwise, what else are you talking about? I joined all my friends like circles of like Blood on the Clock Tower, which is very interesting. It's, if you don't know, it's, well, I mean, even I don't really know much about it. It's a social deception game, but it also has like a stronger roleplay or storytelling element to it than a lot of other social deception games. I've said my piece about social deception games here before, where, you know, I sort of go back and forth between them. I feel like, you know, when I first heard about them, I really, really loved them, played them all the time, and then I started to get burnt out on them, and then I started to not like actively dislike them, because I was like, I don't really like lying to my friends. I think now I'm at a stage where I'm like, okay, you know, obviously I can, even though back then I could logically make a distinction between lying to my friends and the fact we're playing a game where the purpose is to lie, and it's, you know, like a consensual thing. I'm at the stage where I'm more comfortable with them. I just don't think, I'm not sure where I stand enthusiasm wise for social deception. I think it's interesting, and I feel like along with many games I lie in the grounds of, oh, I like the concept of a game more than I necessarily like playing it, or maybe I should say I love thinking about the design of a game. Playing it is fine. Like, you know, I said this before, I said this about Root, where like I love Root conceptually, that sort of thing. Do I like playing Root? I do. But not to the extent I love thinking about what Root's design is and that sort of thing. I don't know if Blood on Clock Tower is going to be similar in that regard. I just assume it's very similar social deception. I've certainly had my fair share of playing social deception. Mainly we played a lot one night Ultimate Werewolf, but I played a decent amount of like regular Werewolf, Mafia, that sort of thing as well. I still stand to this day. I'm not sure why people are so enamored. Maybe not sure why so people are enamored. I'm not as enamored by like regular Mafia as much. You know, the one where it's just like, oh, most of the people don't get a role. You know, one person gets a role of a Mafia, 2 people get the underlings, and then the 3rd person gets like a doctor or something. Or 4th person, I suppose. But one night Ultimate Werewolf, I'm like, mwah, chef's kiss. What a fun game to play. Bite size as well. So I'm interested, yeah, in this Blood on the Clock Tower dealio. I don't really know what to expect necessarily, or what it's going to be like, but you know, I'm looking forward to it. Blood on the Clock Tower is also like a very popular game, so there's lots and lots and lots and lots, I think, of videos of people playing it online too, which I think is, you know, cool. Like I know Dropout have done it, and definitely I'll give that a watch. I don't know who else has done it. Smosh, I think I've done it probably. I don't know. Excuse me. So that'll at least be a sort of insight into what it will be like. Maybe, I don't know. I always feel like I'm of multiple minds about social deception, where I'm like, I love the concept of social deception because I like the idea of it, but then it's like actually put it into practice, it's sort of just like, not in like a it's stressful sort of way, which I know some people find it like stressful, like, oh no, I don't want to be the evil person because I don't want to like have to think about lying. I think conceptually coming up with ideas about how to like trick your friends is actually very, very fun. I said this about Among Us, you know, as well. It's like, it was like, I think I say this about most social deceptions, is that like the more I play the social deception game, the more unhinged I think I become, where I start basically, you know, I start like relatively normally, you know, working out, you know, playing by rules and that sort of thing. And then you'll see very, very quickly, if you ever play social deception games with me, I will hit a point where I'm like, I don't want to play standard anymore, you know, like it's not like it's a solved game in my head, because that's not how it works, but like my own hubris or my own mind goes like, oh, I think I figured out how this game ticks, and it's going to fall into a state of ennui if I keep at in this pace as well. So I'm going to completely change it up, and I just play super, super weirdly, to the extent where it would be like no sane person would play like this. Not all the time, mind you, I am still just a normal person at the end of the day. And I don't know, I have flashbacks to Among Us, to sort of like running around and I don't know, being very weird about that entire thing. I always think about to the Secret Hitler one, where I was just, it was only the third game as well, so I think it wasn't necessarily more out of malaise of like the strategy of the game, but it was more like, you know, this is the third game we're going to play of it, I'm just going to absolutely send it and see what happens. Where I was one of the evil people, and I just was so demonstratively obviously evil, and somehow we still won that game, which is absolutely crazy to see, because my evilness could be leveraged as a thing for my other. I basically sacrificed myself as a sacrificial lamb for the other two people to be like, okay, yeah, we can use that as to gain the trust and favour. I've spoken about it before, but it was like one of my friends was like the chancellor or whatever, and sat next to another one of my friends, and that other friend who was innocent, she was just like, the only person I trust right now is a person next to me who was the chancellor. Because I can't remember why, but like I was being like so pretty obvious, to the extent where, to be fair, I think a lot of people were like, oh, you know, dear darling, she's being like too overtly obvious, there's no way she's actually evil, she's just, you know, trying to like obfuscate information or something. I generally don't remember, but like I remember the two villain people with me were like two of the only people who also voted against electing me as whatever it is to be able to do evil things. That's what I remember. Anyway, not the point. So I'm interested, you know. I think in classic Dear Darling fashion, I'm going to listen to like what the game is like, and I'm going to go like, fascinating. Time to break down every single intricate detail about why the game is designed this way or what way. Because I will say, the only thing I really know about Blood of a Clock Tower, it's got the sort of cycle thing of the voting, which I think is very, very cool, where basically someone stands as like the clock hand and like spins around to everyone, and if you haven't voted by the time it passes over you, then your vote's not counted, which is a good way to put like a real-time element. Sorry, so analytical. It's a really nice way to put like a real-time element into the game, to not to like force people to vote, but to be like, okay, come on, you can't just spend forever, or we're gonna have a situation where humming and hawing, you know, we go 3, 2, 1 vote, and then you're not voting, and you get to see what everyone else votes. It's like, come on, you vote or you lose out. That's basically the idea of it. So I very much appreciate it in that regard. I find it fascinating as well that you need a storyteller basically to go along with it. You need like essentially a DM for the game, which I find fascinating. So I'm like, I don't even know how the game would work. Like, you would have to have a DM, like one like Ultimate Wear of what I'm used to. You can have like a storyteller, but you can also download a mobile app and it will do the storytelling for you. So I'm interested, and I genuinely am interested in seeing what's going on. Yeah. What are we going to talk about? Apart from that, I don't know. I always, like, on a meta level, find it very interesting the way I interact with games nowadays, you know? Like, part of me is like, I wonder if I'd be a good, like, game designer or something, or the very analytical approach I take towards games, board games, video games in general. But I'm also like, I don't know if that would necessarily be the case, because I feel like you can't really do that and also not really play the games at the same time. Like, you've got to like every person who's made a good board game, I don't actually know if it's true, I'm just, you know, spouting out nonsense perhaps, probably has played a lot of board games in their life, or a lot of at least like the genre of the type of board game they want to play. That's my assumption. Might not be the case, to be honest. Because to be fair, you don't have to be a professional to critique someone on something, so I guess that probably would extrapolate from a design perspective as well. Whether that necessarily be true, you know, it's not true in everything, but still. But like I do find myself thinking back of like, well, thinking to it now, I suppose, about why have I taken such an analytical approach to appreciating things? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I cannot answer you. The only thing I can answer you is the fact that it's interesting, you know. When I find like a game mechanic which I latch onto and I'm like, this is brilliant, I'm like, nothing's gonna let that go, I suppose. Yeah. So whether that would be, I don't know, the case or not when I play the game, I don't know. But certainly I give myself, you know, forward permission that if at the point I'm playing the game and I'm like, oh, you know, I just want to send it, I just want to do something absolutely insane, something absolutely unpredictable, why not? As long as I have like a motivation behind it, you know? Like I don't mind playing a crazy gambit if a gambit like has some sense of motivation behind it. It's a bit pointless playing a gambit and being like, oh, I don't really care about, you know, there's no reasoning behind it. My gambits have reasoning. It's like a sort of shoot for the moons and hope people, you know, if you do the correct play, the probabilistically correct play every time, you know, it's going to be called out for. People are going to be like, hey, yo, what's up with that? But if you swing for the fences a little bit more every now and then, you keep people on its toes. On their toes. And through that, it can be a little bit more intrigue. Through that, you can obfuscate for future rounds a bit more of unusual. Information's not the right word, but unusual strategies about what's going on, you know, about what to do. So with something like that, you just gotta find out what's going on. Yeah. You might say, does the analytical approach actually mean that you win more social or more of these social deduction games than not? I don't actually know or think so. I don't really know what my win rate is in these sort of games, to be honest. I like to think I do decently well in these sort of games, but to say that I have like a higher than average win rate, I think would probably be too presumptuous of me. I'm not sure. Instead, probably I do have a higher than average rate of being able to break down and analyse what's going on from a design perspective. Whether that, you know, actually is beneficial or not, I suppose that's probably up to you. I also have just realised I didn't name the Lorelei and the Laser IS episode that came out today, did I? I probably should have named it. Whoa, there's 200 views on the last 1,000 times resist episode. How? What on earth just happened? Okay, hold on, mute that. What is this book called? I hope this book will both entertain and train your intellect. I'm doing a story-based game thing in Lorelei and Laser Eyes and just naming it after a quote which appears. Why have there so many people who watch this episode? 1,000 times resist. I don't know what happened. Is there a way to check properly? I also have just realised I'm going to be doing a bit of drawing later today, but I also realised I need to record a 9 Souls episode, so I'll probably just cut this episode a bit short or something. I can even see my friends have messaged me about it, but that's okay. I will respond to them after this episode. I will just let them know, hey, I'm just going to record some 9 Souls and then I'll get to it. But at the moment, what else to really talk about? I don't know. I don't know, I'm going American. Yeah, I mean, the Blood on the Clock Tower, to be fair, it's not for a while. It's in what days? 2 weeks or something? No, not this week, next week. So I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, I know, maybe I'll play it and I'll be like, this is the worst design game ever. But, I mean, it's so unbelievably popular. I cannot imagine playing it and then being like, this sucks. I've got to imagine I'm going to play it and be like, whoa, this is actually really cool. Like, there's very nice, like, subtle game design things, which I noticed, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, I love the fact they made XYZ decision because it allows for XYZ emergent gameplay or something. I don't know, okay? We're going to have to figure out when we get there, but that's the sort of thing. I'm just like, yeah. That's the sort of stuff that drives me crazy, in a good way. It's that sort of stuff that makes me goes, yes, yes. Anyway. On that note, I think I'll round this episode off here. I know it's a bit of a shorter episode, but again, I've realised I've got 9 souls to record. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Adam across New Horizons. I've been dear darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.